Not too long ago, Nissan announced that the Z sports car would live again with an all-new version, and we're finally getting a taste of what that's going to look like with the Z Proto. This is a prototype or a concept car, however you want to look at it, that's signaling the direction for the next Z sports car. But as you'll notice in all the photos we're going to be taking a look at today, that this is almost production ready. So the production version of the Z is going to be really, really close to what we're seeing today. From the pictures that I've been flipping through, the only likely changes that we'll see when this makes it to production are going to be wheels, tire choices, and perhaps a little bit of what's going on under the hood. The first thing you'll notice is that this definitely looks like a Z car. They've said that this is trying to be a little bit retro, so we have a little bit of 240Z in the design language, and certainly a lot of 300ZX. But unlike some of the competition, it's not an overtly retro design either. So you'll notice that the front end of the vehicle definitely has a modern vibe to it. We have a very, very square grille, which I was kind of surprised by because it's not really in keeping with the rest of the Nissan lineup, but it does remind me a little bit of some Zs in the past. We have some very aggressive headlights. These are probably going to be full LEDs, although again, specifics are not exactly known right now. Nissan has provided very limited details about what's going on under the hood and essentially no details about what's going on under the skin. However, the rumor mill tells me that this is going to be riding on a modified version of the platform that we find under the Infiniti Q60 Coupe. At 172.5 inches long, the prototype is about 5 inches longer than the current Z, but a lot of that seems to be just the shape of the vehicle because it has a more traditional Z profile, but it is about 10 inches longer than the original 240Z. Based on the information that Nissan has provided, there may be a bit more than a passing relationship to that Infiniti lineup when it comes to the engines as well. They've said that it's going to have a twin-turbo V6 engine under the hood. We don't know any details about it, but it's most likely going to be the same 3-liter twin-turbo V6 that we find in the Q50 and Q60. That has been a great, great engine for Infiniti. In the Infiniti lineup, it comes with either 300 or 400 horsepower. I would not be surprised if we found either one of those tunes in the Z, or if we found perhaps a tune that met the in-between, say 350 horsepower, something along those lines. But details are really, really scarce right now. We do know, however, that it's going to have a 6-speed manual transmission, so enthusiasts will be really happy to know the Z will come with a manual. It will also come with an automatic, but we don't know any details about that. It probably will be the new 9-speed automatic transmission that we find spreading its way across Nissan and Infiniti rear-wheel drive vehicles. Now let's take a look at the interior. Nissan sent a ton of exterior photos, but not too many interior pictures, just 4. However, you could tell that this really is a production-intended vehicle because everything about this interior screams ready for production right now. We have a large 12.3-inch LCD instrument cluster behind the driver. That's probably not going to be standard in the production version. I would assume that would be optional in the upper-end trims, although Nissan could surprise us because they do have some pretty big LCDs in less expensive products in their lineup. The Nissan Kicks, for instance, has a large 7-inch LCD in a very, very inexpensive trim. However, this one apparently really is more performance focused. You can really tell by the design. We have a new steering wheel design as well, but again, everything looks very production focused. In the center console, we have a larger touchscreen infotainment system. It looks to be somewhere around 8 inches or so, and the software appears to be similar to what we're seeing in the brand new Nissan Rogue. In a nod to the past, on the top of the center stack, we have 3 auxiliary gauges. We have turbo pressure, that's the boost pressure. We have battery voltage, and we have turbocharger speed. I'm really intrigued by that. That leads me to think that we're going to get the 400 horsepower tune of the 3-liter twin-turbo 6. In the Infiniti lineup, that's the only version of that particular engine family that has turbocharger speed sensors, which would obviously be essential for reporting the speed that the turbo is spinning. It looks like the interior is going to employ much more premium materials than we find in the current Z interior. And then down towards the bottom of the center stack, you'll notice that we have single zone automatic climate control. I'm a little surprised it's not dual zone, but this could be for weight reduction. One thing that we do know is that the FM platform in its current iteration is a little on the heavy side compared to some of the other luxury entries. So it's possible that this is riding on the next generation of that platform where weight savings is a bit more important. You'll also see we have a pretty traditional handbrake right there and just one cup holder between the 2 seats. At this point in time, we don't know pricing or availability because this is not a production-intended car. However, I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up more expensive than the current Z. The current Z starts at just under $30,000. There may very well be a version of this that is down at that price point, but I wouldn't be surprised if the top-end versions were a little bit closer to the Toyota Supra in terms of overall pricing. Especially if this vehicle ended up getting about 400 horsepower, it would be more logical that it would be priced like the Supra rather than the Toyota 86. And the current 370Z is honestly a little bit closer to the Toyota 86 in pricing than the Supra. Be sure and let me know what you think about the design down there in the comment section below. I think Nissan has done a slightly better job at blending retro and modern styling cues than we see in the Ford Mustang, to be perfectly honest, or in the FCA lineup with the Charger, the Challenger, and all of their other retro products. I think they've borrowed enough styling cues from previous generations to make this instantly recognizable as a Z, but also look very futuristic. Maybe it's because I was already interested in cars when the 300ZX first came out, but this reminds me a little bit of the ZX in terms of its styling decision-making process, because that model was instantly recognizable as a Z to me, but it also looked futuristic for the time, and I think the same thing is going for this new Z Proto. Let's hope that Nissan keeps this very, very, very close to the prototype. The only things on these images that I'm seeing are probably not going to make it into the final production stage would obviously be the tires that say Nissan Z on it. I would say that's a little unlikely. We may get variants of these wheels, but they may not be exactly the same. And it's always possible that the door handles or something like that could change a little bit. But just about everything else about this Z Proto screams production car. It doesn't have teeny tiny side view mirrors like we typically see in concept cars or prototype cars. Everything here looks very production specification. Be sure and let me know what you think about all that down there in the comment section below. And of course, check me out over at facebook.com/AlexNautas. And if you want to see the lighter side of things, find me at Instagram as well. I'll see all of you later.